Fighters expeditiously rise to mixed martial arts superstardom. But how about Alex Pereira? Crosses over into mixed martial arts from kickboxing and essentially takes the sport by storm.
By storm, John. I mean, so fast to go from a guy that was what can be to the champion. But when you possess this level of skill, when your kickboxing is second to none, and then you train with Glover and you develop wrestling defense, you know that you have a chance. Pereira not only had a chance, he took it all the way to the title, and tonight, he looks to get another victory.
He's seemingly a perfect mix of intensity and composure. He has heart, championship medal. Alex Pereira, the total package. We're certainly glad he's here in the UFC.
Let's keep it up.
Pereira has graced the octagon. He's ready to go. Well, he is the best mixed martial artist that the nation of Sweden has ever produced. Former two-time UFC light heavyweight title challenger Alexander Gustafsson, and he hasn't realized the UFC title yet, but I know you guys will always have UFC 192, one of the harder fights of your career.
One of the toughest nights that I've ever had in the UFC, and Alexander Gustafsson showed in that night that not only is he skilled, he's as tough as they come. From the war with John Jones, to the war that him and I had, to some of the biggest victories that he stood and he's won in the octagon. A very, very skilled striker with fantastic boxing, unbelievable footwork, and very, very underrated wrestling. One of the only guys that can say he's taken me down and also taken John Jones down in a championship fight.
He really is the total package. I know he hasn't solved that John Jones puzzle yet, but truly a special striker. And in terms of the movement at 205 pounds on the feet, nobody does it better than this.
Underrated wrestling. One of the only guys that can say he's taken me down and also taken John Jones down in a championship.
All right, so here's the former UFC world title challenger, perennial heavyweight contender type, the Reem, Alistair Overeem. His crowning achievement, really, that K1 World Grand Prix Championship in kickboxing, still in search of that elusive UFC title.
No one expected him to win that kickboxing world championship, but he went out there and he beat some of the biggest names in kickboxing history. But once he was back in MMA, he has been a true and absolute savage. From becoming the Dream World Champion, becoming the Strikeforce heavyweight champion. He's done about everything you can do in the sport of mixed martial arts.
Of course, he made his UFC debut famously against Brock Lesnar. A lot of the recent wins for the Reem have come by knockout or TKO. He'll be chasing another highlight here tonight. How about the presence of Alistair Overeem? Has graced the octagon, he's ready to fight. A lot of the recent wins for the Reem have come by knockout or TKO. He'll be chasing another highlight here tonight. All right, he is the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling. We talk so much about the state of this 135-pound division, how it's never been stronger, and yet this guy's starting to distance himself from the pack a little bit. Outstanding grappler, and more often than not, he's going to have a big advantage in that war.
Yeah, that's one of the things that separates Aljamain, is that he's one of those guys that tells you what he's going to do, and then he goes and he does it. Nothing's more discouraging for a fighter than to know what you have to defend and still not be able to defend it. Aljamain Sterling is a beast.
Now, he did hint to us in the fighter meeting that he thought he could win this fight without chaining takedowns, so perhaps we'll see a strike-heavy approach here from Sterling early. We shall see. The Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling, finds himself in yet another big spot here tonight. The Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling, finds himself in yet another big spot here tonight. All right, so here he is, one of the better offensive takedown guys we have in the UFC, DC, and if anyone is well-equipped to speak to this, it is you. The opponent knows what's coming. At least to this point in the UFC, no one's been able to stop him.
He just has to keep him away, because the moment this guy gets close enough to either grab a leg or make body contact, now you're in trouble. He has a knowledge and an understanding of position from a lifetime of just all grappling, judo, wrestling, sambo. He does it all, and he has just so many ways to get you to the floor. This guy once told me that if he can get your leg, he's going to finish. Because he's going to give you so many things to think about, you will not be able to process and keep up with him, and eventually you're on the mat. It's unbelievable to watch him apply that knowledge to the mixed martial arts fights.
And as the wrestlers say, this is not a guy you want anywhere near your bracket.
No, you don't want him in the bracket.
And now our tail of the tape for this right.
Eventually you're on the mat. It's unbelievable to watch him apply that knowledge to the mixed martial arts fights.
And as the wrestlers say, this... All right, here's the top 5 welterweight contender, Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. And I pause at calling him an overachiever, but there were a lot of people who didn't necessarily think that this man was going to vault into the top 5 and be the factor that he has become in one of the UFC's deepest divisions.
Well, when you're this committed, when you are so committed to your craft, and you have an iron will that you will be something special, you can accomplish anything. That's Bilal Muhammad. When you talk to him, you get a sense that this guy believes that he's the best in the world. He doesn't believe it. He applies the work ethic to it to make himself and give himself a chance. It has allowed for him to be exactly where he is today.
And now he believes he might just be one win away from his first shot at the UFC title. We'll see how it goes for Muhammad tonight.
He applies the work ethic to it to make himself and give himself a chance. It has allowed for him to be exactly where he is today.
And now he believes he might just be one win away from his first shot at the UFC title. We'll see how it goes for Muhammad tonight. Accomplished collegiate wrestlers of all time when it comes to pinfalls. This is a guy whose skill set has translated very well to mixed martial arts, and a very interesting UFC debut for Ben Askren. You have it no other way.
Ben Askren won that fight against Robbie Lawler in the most Ben Askren type of way.
Yes.
With a bulldog choke. He got slammed on his head, didn't go out, got up and got a bulldog choke to finish. A 2-time Hodge Trophy winner in wrestling, which is essentially the Heisman. He won that 2 years in a row on the Olympic team. I would wrestle Ben Askren myself when we were at the Olympic Games in Beijing, and you cannot understand the strength and the awkwardness of Ben Askren until you have felt it. He is truly a special athlete. Olympic team, I would wrestle Ben Askren myself when we were at the Olympic Games in Beijing, and you cannot understand the strength and the awkwardness of Ben Askren until you have...
All right, well, I'm excited for this one. This is a kickboxer of the highest order. He has so many different kicks and punches in his arsenal and figures to try to keep this on the feet here tonight.
The beautiful thing that he does is he throws that front push kick to create distance when a guy starts to get too close and wants to wrestle with him. He throws it, and the moment you're back at his range, he starts to blast high kicks. He doesn't always intend on landing them, but he beats up your arm with high kick after high kick after high kick. And as you get desperate, you start to run into knees, and he does not need much space to land a knockout punch. This guy is one of the best strikers we've ever seen in the UFC.
And if you don't find the striking range early against this guy, you could be in real trouble. Our tale of the tape for this middleweight fight. Here's Bruce Buffer.
This guy is one of the best strikers we've ever seen in the UFC.
And if you don't find the striking range early against this guy, you could be in real trouble. Well, this man has been there before, and he certainly looks like it. The #1 middleweight contender back in a championship setting, and we've talked about this a lot, but he made himself undeniable with this run back to contention. Now he tries to wrest away the gold.
That's not easy, John. It's not easy to make your way back because you have been there before, and maybe it didn't work out for you, but to stay positive, to have that steel trap of a mind that allows for you to rebuild yourself, makes you know when you do get back, you have a greater appreciation for the opportunity. Tonight he said he intends to finally cash in.
There are a lot of high-level guys at 185 pounds, a lot of contenders waiting in the wings. This challenger knows he has to maximize this opportunity in front of him tonight. A lot of high-level guys at 185 pounds, a lot of contenders waiting in the wings. This challenger knows he has to maximize this opportunity in front of him tonight. All right, so the latest title defense arrives here and now for the UFC's undisputed middleweight champion. And prevailing wisdom is it's going to take a huge effort out of the challenger tonight to dethrone this dominant king.
Absolutely. You do not beat this guy without being on your A game. And not even just your A game is going to get it done. You have got to overachieve in order to beat this guy. This guy is firmly entrenched as the best in the world. When you look at him, you know he's the best. From the way he carries himself, to the confidence, to the skill set. He's the champ, and he doesn't intend for that to change.
Seemed as though it was maybe a difficult weight cut or more difficult than once prior, but he didn't want to hear any of that noise in advance of this latest middleweight championship title defense. All right, with that, both fighters have now graced the octagon. They will lock the door behind them, ready to go with a crazy fight here at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, folks, does not get a whole lot bigger nor better than this. UFC light heavyweight championship fight is upon us, and all eyes are on the incumbent as he makes this walk for his latest title defense tonight.
He is walking once again as the light heavyweight champion of the world. The UFC's glamour division long has this been viewed as the division with the most talented guys because you're not quite heavyweight, you're just right underneath it. This guy is a champion in the highest order. He has defended this belt time and time again, and he intends to extend that streak tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't all that long ago that this belt was vacant. It was changing hands seemingly every other title fight. Now this man is holding it down and looking to dispose of another challenger properly tonight. Chuck Liddell. has graced the octagon. He is ready to fight. Our tale of the tape for this light heavyweight title fight. All right, so here he is, one of the more prolific takedown artists in the UFC at present. And when you get some praise from Daniel Cormier when it comes to your offensive takedown game, you know you're doing something right.
And we talk about wrestlers and judo players and grapplers, but this guy just combines all of that. He is able to use foot sweeps from the grappling game. He is able to use throws from judo, and he's able to use wrestling from the wrestling game to take people down. He has an array of takedowns at his disposal, and he uses every single one of them. From the speed of the level change to the timing to the knowledge of where to go next when the guy starts to defend, he's truly, truly something special.
I don't think he could take you down, but tonight he doesn't have to. So in this matchup, prevailing wisdom is he'll be able to get this fight to the canvas. The Sandman, Corey Sandman, steps inside the octagon. He looks ready to go. And now our tale of the tape for this bantamweight fight. All right, so here he is, the #1 middleweight contender. He made himself undeniable, and tonight he gets a title shot. We shall see what he can do with it.
Yeah, he made himself undeniable. You know, nothing is ever guaranteed. Sometimes you got to do more. He just kept his head down. He kept working. Whoever they put in front of him, he beat them, and ultimately he finds himself on the verge of a championship. The preparation has been thorough. The preparation has been very intense, and he feels like they have done everything necessary to become the champ tonight.
Now, most people would argue right now the UFC's 185-pound division has never been stronger, and a lot of people believe that this man is going to alter history by wresting the title away tonight. We shall see. This fighter has read the Marquess of Queensberry rules cover to cover. Truly one of the best boxers we have in the UFC today, and he works everything off of that jab.
Oh yeah, the jab is what got him to the show. He is just a phenomenal boxer, and John, I love you throwing out the Queensberry rules in the walkout for this man because he signifies everything that is boxing. He's a guy that loves the sport. He wanted to take boxing on his back and bring it to mixed martial arts and show that it is as an effective form of combat as anything else. He said, I'll walk away from an Olympic opportunity to take my sport into the octagon and show that we are the best fighters in the world. And he's done that to this point in the UFC.
Well, they're all chasing the great Demetrius Johnson, but this man believes when all is said and done, he might go down as the greatest flyweight champion of all time. Tonight, a chance to join that elite class and realize his first UFC belt.
Yeah, he's trying to become the champion of the division that has had some really good champions, from Demetrius Johnson to Davison Figueiredo to Brandon Moreno. The list of fantastic champions at flyweight is not very long, but he feels that he can stand atop all those guys by the time his career is done. But it all starts tonight. You gotta win in your first opportunity.
And he did tell us this week he felt like the champion at times was ducking him, but the win streak became so long that there was no denying this title shot. Now we see what he can do with it.
But he feels
All right, so here he is, one of the more popular fighters on this UFC roster, top to bottom, the heavyweight contender, the Black Beast, Houston's finest, Derek Lewis.
Yeah, Derek Lewis is a phenomenal fighter, but he's just a fighter at heart. From the hardships that he had as a kid to his youth, developing and overcoming so much adversity to become a guy that has fought for the UFC Heavyweight Championship is truly inspiring for anyone that looks up to Derek Lewis. But not only is the story very good, the fighting skill is there to match.
And he's got that old school break your face open type of power, and he'll look to put it to good use in this matchup here tonight. Here's the former UFC bantamweight champion, Dominick Cruz. I feel like it's kind of unfair that he's not here to defend himself against you as he's making this walk, but ubiquitously regarded, DC, as the best bantamweight of all time.
I love that word, ubiquitously, or whatever. I don't know how to say it.
You nailed it.
It's beautiful, but if you're going to talk about someone and use that word, it needs to be Dominick Cruz, because he really is one of the greatest fighters this division has ever seen, one of the smartest guys that have ever been around. He fights with me constantly at the commentary table.
He does.
But I love it because I feel like it brings out the most in both of us. And when Dominick Cruz is challenged, he always steps up. That's why he's been so successful in his mixed martial arts career.
We talk a lot about the footwork, the cardio, the striking. But one thing Dominick will tell you, if he needs to take a beating and lean on that heart and that toughness, he is more than willing to do so. Good to see Dom Cruz back on the proving ground here tonight. Dominick Cruz, set to fight TJ Dillashaw. Well, Floyd Mayweather talks a lot about hard work and dedication, and that has been the root of this light heavyweight contender getting back to a championship fight. We'll see what he does with it here tonight, champ.
He's a grinder, John, and you knew that he would get back here. You knew that he would find a way to put himself right back on the verge of becoming the man. He has seen it before. He has done it. He has been here. He recognizes and knows that the changes necessary were done in the gym. He's ready. He's prepared. He's sure. He knows in his mind that by the end of the night, he's holding championship gold.
And there was a time when this division was top heavy. Now the top 15 is absolutely loaded. He has emerged out of that pack. We'll see if he becomes the new champion here tonight. All right, so here he is, the #1 UFC middleweight contender, and in this era, that's saying something, right? To get through this gauntlet and emerge out of the pack, realize a UFC title shot, now the world finds out what exactly this man can do with it.
You know, John, as we've spoken about, it's shark-infested waters trying to manage and navigate through this division. It's one thing to get here, and it's a major accomplishment, but to become the champion is a whole nother level. This guy feels like in his thorough preparation, the intensity at which he moves in the training room, he is more than ready to take the belt off the champion's waist.
And you can be sure when the champion comes out at a moment, challengers' eyes will be fixed upon him. We got a middleweight title fight tonight, folks. Let's go.
To take the belt off the champion's waist.
And you can be sure when the champion comes out at a moment, challengers' eyes will be fixed upon him. We got a middleweight title fight tonight, folks. Let's go. Here is Dustin Poirier making the walk for yet another big UFC spot here tonight. UFC 236 was his coming out party, DC. He ended Max Holloway's 13-fight winning streak, and in a near-perfect performance in a lot of respects, was able to realize a UFC interim lightweight title.
They say diamonds are forever, and so is Dustin Poirier. It seems like he's been here the whole time. We've seen this young man grow up in the UFC. We saw him at 145 pounds have a ton of success, but we've truly seen him come into his own as he's going up to lightweight. He's become a UFC interim champion, and he's beaten guys like Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, and Max Holloway. One of the best fighters at 155 is Dustin Poirier.
And with Dustin Poirier and Daniel Cormier, safe to say that Lafayette, Louisiana has made a pretty good UFC footprint over the last few years.
I love it.
Dustin Poirier back on the proving ground here tonight. All right, so here he is, one of the best lightweights in the world, Dustin Poirier, putting that status on the line yet again here tonight. Great frame for this lightweight division. It's amazing to think he had as much success at featherweight as he did. Long arms, good footwork, nice submissions as well. This is truly a 5-tool play.
Yes, he's one of the best fighters in the lightweight division, and it shows every time he steps foot in the octagon. And a victims list that includes Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway. You know when you're looking at Dustin Poirier that he is one of the best fighters in the UFC's lightweight division and has the frame to compete up, and he's shown that before he was a featherweight. So a guy that may compete over 3 weight classes over his UFC's career.
And we remind you, when he faced Max Holloway at UFC 236 for the interim lightweight title, Holloway came in with a 13-fight winning streak that Poirier promptly ended that fateful night in Atlanta, Georgia. Proudly repping Killcliff FC and the Institute of Human Performance, here is the welterweight contender, Gilbert Durinho Burns. Realized a lot of success at 155 pounds before moving up, but certainly most would argue we have seen the best out of Gilbert Burns at 170 pounds.
Well, he doesn't have to deal with the weight cut anymore. He was a big 55-pounder, maybe a little small at 170, but his skill set translates, and it really does work in his division. He is a high-level jiu-jitsu guy, but it's his striking that has impressed me the most. The improvements he has made down in South Florida allow for him to not only compete with the best, but to earn victories most times he goes in there.
You're absolutely right, made his UFC debut back in 2014, challenged for the title in 2021. A lot of fans believe he'll get back there. Gilbert Durinho Burns steps inside the octagon. He is ready to fight. 2014 challenge for the title in 2021. A lot of fans believe he'll get back there. All right, folks, does not get a whole lot bigger nor better than this. UFC Light Heavyweight Championship fight is upon us, and all eyes are on the incumbent as he makes this walk for his latest title defense tonight.
He is walking once again as the light heavyweight champion of the world. The UFC's glamour division long has this been viewed as the division with the most talented guys, because you're not quite heavyweight, you're just right underneath it. This guy is a champion in the highest order. He has defended this belt time and time again, and he intends to extend that streak tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't all that long ago that this belt was vacant. It was changing hands seemingly every other title fight. Now this man is holding it down and looking to dispose of another challenger properly tonight. As beloved as it gets, Glover Teixeira, ready to go, and so are we for our main event. Down and looking to dispose of another challenger properly tonight. All right, so here's the legend, George St. Pierre, former UFC welterweight champion, former UFC middleweight champion, and DC as one of the most decorated wrestlers on this UFC roster. You got to be pretty amazed at what this man has been able to accomplish without any amateur wrestling credentials to speak.
Yeah, with no background, the guys that he's been in there with and controlled the wrestling exchanges has truly been unbelievable to watch. I was in Canada when he fought Josh Koscheck, and he took Josh Koscheck, who was an NCAA champion, down whenever he needed to.
Right.
But it was also the striking that made him so dangerous. I remember George St. Pierre had this combination. There was a lead jab, a lead Superman jab, and then a leg kick. Everyone wanted to try and do it, and they say imitation is the greatest form of getting a compliment. We all tried to beat George St. Pierre.
And he's got more ESPYs than me.
He does. He's a man.
All right, so here's the UFC champion, Henry Cejudo, took Olympic gold in Beijing back in 2008. This man is a winner in every sense of the word.
He's an absolute winner, and he did win in 2008, but I say go back to 2007. When we walked into the World Championship in Azerbaijan, Henry Cejudo was 34 of 35 guys in the weight class. Fast forward a year ahead,
Amazing.
He's the Olympic champion. But then that applies to Demetrius Johnson. He got beat by DJ the first time, knocked out in one round. Fast forward 3 years, he beats him by decision and becomes the UFC champion. Henry Cejudo is just a winner.
And in a lot of respects, just getting started. We'll see how it goes for the messenger here tonight. Triple C, Henry Cejudo, set to fight Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
Cejudo is just a winner.
And in a lot of respects, just getting started. What a moment. All eyes are on the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion as she tries to succeed in defending the title yet again. She's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters, man or woman, on this roster, and prohibitively favored yet again in defense of her title.
I love her confidence. I just love the way she carries herself as the champion. You don't have to know she's the champ to know she's the champ, because when you look at her, she has that star ability about her. And even though she has that, all of it's rooted in her fighting ability. She is one of the best the Octagon's ever seen.
And I do think she could be a double champion, but she was sort of reticent to hear that conversation. She is focused on the task in front of her tonight. Holly Holm, ready to make a statement here tonight.
Yes.
All right, so this #1 featherweight contender is no stranger to this setting. Tonight, though, he believes he's just a much better version of himself and finally has the goods and the chops to actually be a world champion.
Sometimes you get there, John, and you're just not ready. It's not easy to become the best in the world. The first time this man got here, he was a great fighter. He was good, but he just wasn't ready to be the best in the world. He said that the moment he got back home, he went to work to improve. He feels like all the improvements were made, and tonight he is the best featherweight the UFC has.
And it does seem as though we have taken two-way action on this fight, but a lot of people believe in the challenger, and I'm not just talking about his coaches. We'll see how it goes tonight. And it does seem as though we have taken two-way action on this fight, but a lot of people... All right, so here is Poland's Jan Blachowicz making the walk for yet another UFC appearance. It's hard to believe this man is now 40 years of age, still going strong in a pro career that dates to 2007.
He's been fighting forever, but he seems to be getting better as he gets a bit longer in the tooth. We watch him compete against young guys, and he's competing effectively. He's doing the things that he sets out to do. He's a tremendous striker. We all know that. We saw him outstrike Israel Adesanya. But the wrestling is something that he can rely on if he needs to. Jan Blachowicz has all the skills, and if he wants to win tonight, he's going to have to use every single one of them against his young opponent.
And certainly we have seen fellow light heavyweights call out Jan Blachowicz at times. The opposition did that tonight. Ask and you shall receive. Perhaps it'll be a case of be careful what you wish for. Folks, does not get a whole lot bigger nor better than this. UFC Light Heavyweight Championship fight is upon us, and all eyes are on the incumbent as he makes this walk for his latest title defense tonight.
He is walking once again as the Light Heavyweight Champion of the world. The UFC's glamour division long has this been viewed as a division with the most talented guys because you're not quite heavyweight, you're just right underneath it. This guy is a champion in the highest order. He has defended this belt time and time again, and he intends to extend that streak tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't all that long ago that this belt was vacant. It was changing hands seemingly every other title fight. Now this man is holding it down and looking to dispose of another challenger properly tonight. Yuri Prochazka, ready to engage in another high-profile matchup here tonight. Our tale of the tape for this light heavyweight title fight. All All right, so here he is, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal turned pro in mixed martial arts back in 2003. More than 45 pro MMA fights to his credit. Seems to have finally found the division in which he belongs and trying to make a run here to welterweight title contention.
At welterweight, he has a speed advantage. He also can still defend takedowns very, very effectively. You want to fight? Get an octagon. Get a boxing ring. Let's go in someone's backyard.
Yeah.
It does not matter. Just tell Jorge Masvidal where it's at. He'll be there. This is a fighter's fighter, and he's always looking for a good scrap.
And that's why when Leon Edwards confronted him backstage, had to give him the 3-piece in the soda, right?
He got him with a biscuit. He got him with the biscuit.
Jorge Masvidal, the man many of these fight fans have come out to see here tonight. A 3-piece in the soda, right?
He got him with a biscuit.
All right, folks, here we go, and what a miraculous run it has been for this 135-pound woman. She fought for the belt back in the day, didn't get the title, everybody left her for dead. Look at her now.
She never believed that she was done. She knew that she would get back, even if everyone around her told her it would be very difficult. She put her head down, she went to work, and she's back now. And she feels like because of that journey, the ups and the downs, the torment that she had to go through, being depressed, not being the champion, all that has built her to be the person that can take the belt tonight.
A lot of valuable lessons learned. She's never looked better on the scale. Perhaps that will be an indicator of things to come tonight. All right, here he is, the former UFC champion and arguably the nicest guy in the sport. He is Junior Dos Santos, another one of these young fathers, DC, who has really been buoyed and motivated by having children in his day-to-day.
He's very nice, but he's also very deadly. He has massive power in his hands, and he's got a great ability to hide all of his strikes. He does a fantastic job of feigning with the front shoulder to draw out his opponent's reactions, and then he follows with that massive right hand that we saw finish Frank Mir, also the massive uppercut that finished Fabricio Verdum, and the overhand right of Cain Velasquez. At the end of the day, it's the right hand that holds the key to Junior Dos Santos' victory.
And perhaps no heavyweight has responded to adversity better than JDS. He has never lost back-to-back fights in his mixed martial arts career. All right, both fighters have entered the octagon, and this massive, massive fight is nearly upon us, ready to go from Anaheim at the Honda Center with one of the biggest fights of the year. And perhaps no heavyweight has responded to adversity better than JDS. He has never lost back-to-back fights in his mixed martial arts. All right, here he is, the decorated kickboxer, back for more here tonight, and he's so comfortable in the striking realm. It's almost like he started kickboxing before he ever was reading or writing.
Oh, it's unbelievable to see someone that's so comfortable under so much duress.
I know.
When you're in kickboxing range, you are in the fire. There is no safety. You're right in range to be getting knocked out, but he does not fear that. He loves it. He loves the combat. He loves the engagements. But what you have to understand is he's not engaging his opponents on their terms. He's doing it on his terms. Whether or not he wants to be in close with the big punches or he wants to be at range landing kicks, he's just constantly putting damage on you. Top, bottom, up, low, it does not matter. This guy is a dominant striker, one of the best kickboxers the UFC has ever seen.
And in terms of the punching technique and the jab, as good as anyone in this division.
bottom, up, low, it does not matter. This guy is a dominant striker, one of the best kickboxers the UFC.
From the backyard brawls to the biggest show in the sport, here is Kimbo Slice making the UFC walk yet again. And you can be sure when Kimbo's on the fight card, the masses are tuning in.
Everybody's tuning in. There are fight parties all around the country.
Yes.
When Kimbo's fighting. He just has that ability to get people together to compete. He's one of those guys that regardless of wins and losses, you still want to see him go. But trust me, Kimbo lands the right hand.
Yes.
Most times he is getting his hand raised. A phenomenal boxer, has professional boxing experience, and also just a draw in every sense of the word.
Good to see Kimbo Slice ready to go here tonight. And there he is, folks. Kimbo Slice steps inside the octagon. He is ready to fight. Well, how about that pop that greets the #1 UFC middleweight contender? He has emerged through the gauntlet at 185 pounds, and tonight, that elusive crack at UFC Gold.
Just getting here is an accomplishment because the waters are shark infested. Every single time you walk into the octagon, you are challenged at the highest level. So to get here is one thing. It's another thing to become the champion. He feels like tonight is his night to complete the journey, to finish writing his story and walking away with a championship belt.
There is a little bit of friction on this matchup, but most people would argue if any athlete is well-equipped to bottle that emotion and realize success on a big stage, it is this #1 contender. Those questions give way to answers here in a moment. All right, so it all comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen, as we set our eyes on the #1 light heavyweight contender. Daniel, I often say the greatest part of this job for you and me is seeing a non-champion break through and strike UFC gold for the first time.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best because you watch these athletes over the course of the fight week try to wrap their mind around how big of a chance they have. And then when you get to Saturday night, you can see it on their face. They're just thinking about what life looks like after. If I get it done, how does my life change? Tonight he has an opportunity to change everything in regards to his life.
And his fight week has been exceptional. It was a great weight cut, very forthcoming in our fighter meeting. All eyes on the #1 205-pound contender here tonight. Well, you want to talk about a fighter who checks all the boxes, DC. Here's the UFC featherweight king, your right-hand man, Max Blessock.
The Blessed Express is always on my mind. He's one of the best fighters and one of the best guys that we know. The pace and the ability to push and press forward is something that the UFC's featherweight division has never really seen. To melt Jose Aldo in the way that he did, to melt Brian Ortega in the way that he did, is truly a compliment to Max Holloway in his preparation, true Hawaiian to his soul, and it shows in the toughness that he exhibits when he steps into the octagon.
You talk about a guy ably taking the torch from the Hall of Famer BJ Penn. Max blessed Holloway. Few guys are going to be able to match the cardio. You mentioned the pace and the pressure. All eyes on Max Holloway yet again here tonight. Max Holloway set to fight the notorious Conor McGregor. Pressure, all eyes on Max Holloway yet again. All right, here he is, folks. You know who he is, the undisputed UFC middleweight champion. This man has run roughshod through one of the deepest divisions in the UFC, and he is showing no signs of slowing down.
He ain't slowing down, John. He loves the ability to call himself the champ. A smile is on his face every time somebody goes, "Hey, champ, how you doing?" The guy lives for it. He lives for the adulation. He lives for the applause. He lives for the ability to stay in the spotlight. He will fight to defend his title as if his life depended on it.
Huge training camp for him. He feels like he has leveled up in a lot of disciplines of mixed martial arts. And, man, if he presents an even better version, scary proposition for the challenger. Michael Bisping steps inside the octagon. He's ready to fight. Huge training. All right, here he is, the charismatic UFC lightweight contender and former Bellator champion, Iron Michael Chandler. He said when he signed with the UFC, Daniel, he was not here for a long time, but a good time, and been a darn good time thus far seeing Michael Chandler compete in the big show.
It's been a good time for us. I don't understand how he's having fun when he's involved in those types of fights, but this guy's an absolute beast. I mean, he is a forward pressure, face-first fighter, and those are always the ones that we enjoy. Michael Chandler has the ability to just take it out, but he would prefer to punch you in the face. Let's see how many he goes. Let's see how many he can land tonight as he steps to the octagon again.
And Plus Athlete doesn't even begin to describe it. Let's see how it goes for Michael Chandler in another big spot tonight. Iron Michael Chandler has graced the octagon. He is ready to go.
Let's see how many he can land tonight as he steps to the octagon again.
And Plus Athlete doesn't even begin to... Well, she may not be the betting favorite here tonight, but there are a lot of people out there that believe this #1 bantamweight contender is the best 135-pound fighter on the planet. And at long last, she gets a chance to prove it.
She has told us constantly, anytime you are within range of her voice, she will tell you, I'm the best, I'm the champ, get me an opportunity. She gets that opportunity. And she has lived this week as if she believes everything that she says. She has been sure. She has been confident. That is all rooted in her preparation, which to everyone that knows has been tremendous.
And both champion and challenger have a lot of skills, but this particular contender believes this is the best matchup for her in this top 5. We'll see if she can dethrone the queen.
shows has been tremendous.
And both champion and challenger have a lot of skills, but this particular contender believes this is the best matchup for her in this top 5. We'll see if she can dethrone the queen. Oh, he's here, folks, because you never know if this will be the last time we see Nate Diaz in the UFC with a fan base really as big as any fighter in the sport. Diaz is back tonight, and we're glad to see him.
Stockton, stand up. This guy has a cult following. He is one of the most interesting guys in the UFC because he has this sense that he really doesn't care to be here, but he also doesn't feel as comfortable anywhere but in the octagon. So it's a love-hate relationship with fighting for Nate Diaz. When he's happiest, when he's best, he's fighting in the UFC. A guy that boxes, unbelievable, but I think it's the attitude of Nate Diaz that has made him into one of the biggest stars that we've ever seen in the octagon.
He had a couple of life-changing paydays against Conor McGregor, the win at UFC 196, the majority decision loss at UFC 202.
Which to this day he says he won, right?
He thinks he won that fight. But one thing goes without saying, and I'll say it anyway, when Nate Diaz fights, the world is watching, and that is the... All right, so here he is, the former Strikeforce welterweight champion, Nick Diaz. Stars don't burn much brighter than this, DC. Good to see Nick back on the proven ground tonight.
It's great to see Nick back in the octagon, a guy that every time he makes the walk, you know you are going to get a great fight. He's gonna start going at you the moment the referee says fight. He's gonna be talking. He'll be trying to slap you. He'll be hitting you with the jab. And if you make the mistake of just taking him down, Nick Diaz has a great jiu-jitsu game. Unbelievable submission ability, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with black belt boxing.
Yep.
That's Nick Diaz.
Lifetime in the sport, made his UFC debut all the way back at UFC 44 against Jeremy Jackson in 2003. Nick Diaz, ready to make a statement here tonight. Well, as usual, the eyes of the mixed martial arts world are fixed upon Paddy, the Batty Pimblett, when he competes. And anytime you're able to win when you're not at your best, as was the case in his win over Jared Gordon, that's a feather in your cap. Pimblett back on the horse tonight.
Win. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. Paddy Pimblett gets the job done. But listen to this arena. Listen to the reaction that people give this young man when he steps from behind the curtain. This guy is a star. He has that star quality about him. But not only does he have that, he can fight. And ultimately, it's about winning fights. Paddy Pimblett does that in spades.
There are so many components to this Paddy Pimblett package, the accent, the persona, but this is a very talented mixed martial artist out to prove as much yet again tonight. All right, well, you can argue in terms of prospects coming up in this division, this man is as well-rounded as any fighter in the weight class. Tonight believes he'll have the striking advantage, but not afraid to grapple if the fight goes to the ground as well.
Well, when you possess that type of skill, when you have all the abilities, You're not afraid of where the fight goes. This man believes that he's just better. And he has proven that every time he stepped into the octagon. He is well-rounded. And many say it, but this kid is well-rounded. And he has shown it in his octagon appearance.
Yeah, comes from a great camp, gets a lot of different looks, and health is wealth. When he's been healthy, he's looked like one of the best fighters in this division. Always ready to engage. We'll see how he handles this challenge tonight. Always ready to engage. All right, so for a long time, this man believed that he was the #1 light heavyweight in the world. He is the challenger out of the blue corner tonight, and with a golden opportunity to prove to the champion that there's a new force to be reckoned with.
He said time and time again he thought he was the matchup. He thought he could get it done. He thought that it was only a matter of time before he took the belt from the champ. Now he gets that opportunity. Words are only words until you put them into action. Tonight he has the opportunity to put all those words into action and become the champion. He is on the verge of something huge.
For a long time, people believed this was the UFC's glamour division, and this light heavyweight contender wants to bring that shine back. Big opportunity for him tonight. All right, here's a man who needs no introduction, the undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion and one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, trying to hold up his end of the bargain and leave the way he came in as the champion of the world.
He's an absolute star. John, that belt defines him. That belt is who he is now. He recognized that the moment he became the champion, his life changed. He loves it. He loves being the best in the world. He loves ruling atop this very difficult division, and he intends to keep it that way for a very long time.
He did say to us in the fighter meeting on the record, this may be his most difficult title defense to date. As such, he's put in all the right work. We'll see if he can remain the hunted here at 205 pounds. Well, so much UFC history is played out here at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Plenty more where that came from tonight. The athletes are ready to go. All right, so the 135-pound division has been owned by this man. He is showing no signs of slowing down, and not unlike some other champions we have, showing new wrinkles with every passing title defense.
Every time he gets to the octagon, he looks better. There's something new. There's something improved about our champion. He's just one of those guys that will never take a day off. He will never allow for someone to be working when he isn't. He's so intent on being dominant that he makes sure that he leaves no stone unturned. Tonight he has done that, and he assures us that he's going to keep his championship.
There were a few guys that could have gotten this title fight. He believes the most worthy opposition got this opportunity. Now the champion's job is to turn him back. All right, the Sugar Show live and in color. Sean O'Malley back on the proving ground here tonight. And what else can you say about what he did against Abu Dhabi? Close fight against Petr Yan, but that really served to put him on this championship trajectory.
Well, you got to stand out and take note when you fight someone like that. So close. Even if he had lost, you had to give him his respect. But ultimately, he got the decision. This guy is a great striker. The one area where we have not seen him tested is in the grappling. Tonight, he will have to rely on that if he wants to get another victory in what has been a fast-paced ascent up the bantamweight rankings.
And he is a willing grappler. We've seen him compete in Quintet Ultra. Augusto Tanquinho Mendez, UFC veteran there firmly in his corner. But you're right, we haven't necessarily seen Sean O'Malley tested in that realm as yet. And now our tail of the tape for this bantamweight championship fight. All right, so here he is, one of the more prolific takedown artists in the UFC at present. And when you get some praise from Daniel Cormier when it comes to your offensive takedown game, you know you're doing something right.
And we talk about wrestlers and judo players and grapplers, but this guy just combines all of that. He is able to use foot sweeps from the grappling game. He is able to use throws from judo, and he's able to use wrestling from the wrestling game to take people down. He has an array of takedowns at his disposal, and he uses every single one of them. From the speed of the level change to the timing to the knowledge of where to go next when the guy starts to defend, he's truly something special.
I don't think he could take you down, but tonight he doesn't have to. So in this matchup, prevailing wisdom is he'll be able to get this fight to the canvas. He'll be able to get this fight to the canvas. All right, folks, here he is with much fanfare, the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion. Big challenge in front of him tonight, but this man looks like an individual who could reign for some time.
Well, he reigned atop what was the UFC's glamour division. You go from Tito Ortiz to Chuck Liddell to Randy Couture, John Jones, Mauricio Shogun, who has so many great champions have held this title, that there is a lot of credibility that comes with it. This man loves that he is the 205-pound champion and knows how difficult it is to reign for a long time in such a tough division.
A lot of budding contenders coming his way. We'll see how he handles this particular challenge here tonight. All right, ready to go from the house that MJ built. We are at United Center, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Both fighters now ready to engage. Let us see who emerges in this critical matchup. All right, well, a lot of fans have come out to see this man throw hands here tonight. You can argue he has some of the best boxing in this division. But fighters are a sensitive lot. It's like every time we put over his hands, he feels like we're saying out of the other side of our mouth that he's not well-rounded. That's not the case.
No, we're not calling him limited at all. We're not saying this guy can't do everything, but what pops off the page is his hand speed, his power in his hands, his ability to set up his hands through his feints and his movements. He can do so many good things in the boxing realm that you lock in on that thing, but make no mistake about it, this guy's very well-rounded, But ultimately, it will be his boxing that will allow for him to be successful.
And defensively, certainly he's not going to be confused with Pernell Whitaker, but he moves his head very well, manages distance exceedingly well.
Sweet Pea.
And stylistically, oh, Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea was so good.
All time ago. May he rest in peace.
For him to be successful.
And defensively, certainly he's not going to be confused with Pernell Whitaker, but he moves his head very well, manages distance. All right, so here's the former UFC strawweight queen, Thug Rose Namajunas. She's a very interesting individual, DC, because as much as she is a lifelong martial artist and loves to train, there's something about fight night and all of the accompanying emotions that she really doesn't care for.
Yeah, she doesn't love it all that much, but she loves the preparation for getting in the octagon, and once she arrives there, she usually will give her best self. She's a fantastic striker. Showed that in the second Namajunas fight, but don't forget about all the submissions that she had from her time on The Ultimate Fighter, her time in Invicta, all the way to becoming the striker that we saw knock out Jędrzejczyk to win the UFC title.
When she is at her best, as she was in that first round against Jessica Andrade, most people believe that she is still the best strawweight in the world. She will try to prove it again here tonight. Another big spot for Thug Rose Namajunas. Well, Floyd Mayweather talks a lot about hard work and dedication, and that has been the root of this light heavyweight contender getting back to a championship fight. We'll see what he does with it here tonight, champ.
He's a grinder, John, and you knew that he would get back here. You knew that he would find a way to put himself right back on the verge of becoming the man. He has seen it before. He has done it. He has been here. He recognizes and knows that the changes necessary were done in the gym. He's ready, he's prepared, he's sure, he knows in his mind that by the end of the night, he's holding championship gold.
And there was a time when this division was top heavy. Now the top 15 is absolutely loaded. He has emerged out of that pack. We'll see if he becomes the new champion here tonight. There was a time when this division was top heavy. Now the top 15. Well, he was a three-time NCAA qualifier as a Cal State Fullerton wrestler. He is a former two-time UFC bantamweight champion. He is Tyler Jeffrey Dillashaw, and he is ready to add to his legacy here tonight.
And for all those wrestling accomplishments, he doesn't even need to use it. He's become a great striker under Dwayne Ludwig, a guy that can beat you with kicks, a guy that can beat you with the boxing, and the footwork is something that we haven't seen in the UFC for a very long time. TJ Dillashaw is one of the greatest bantamweights of all time.
And he is truly in his element on Fight Night. Absolutely loves the bright lights and everything that Fight Night entails. Another big spot for Dillashaw here tonight. TJ Dillashaw has graced the octagon. He's ready to go. Absolutely loves the bright lights and every...
Well, I
folks, here we go. Undisputed UFC Heavyweight Championship fight, and all eyes are on the incumbent as he makes the walk here tonight, and he's enjoying every moment of it. Huge title defense beckons for him tonight.
John, he loves where he stands in the sport. He loves the admiration that comes with being the baddest man on the planet. He knows he's the biggest, he's the strongest, he's the baddest, and he loves it. And he prepares as if he never wants to let that go. This man lives for being the best. This man lives to be in the spotlight. And time again, we see him defend this belt as if his life depended on it.
Well, right, you lose this belt, it's essentially like walking back into your new life. He has no intention of suffering that fate here tonight. All right, so not the first time he has been the #1 bantamweight contender, but most would argue this is a totally different beast than the man who arrived in a championship setting prior. Your thoughts on the #1 contender coming in here tonight?
You know, when you get here, you find an opportunity to try and become the man. But if it doesn't work out, you got to find your way back. That's exactly what this guy did. Not many believe that he would find his way back to this championship. He has, but now he understands that this will be the last chance. The last chance to become the champion. He cannot miss this opportunity. It's all or nothing for this guy walking into the octagon.
As some might say, don't be Russell Westbrook, right? Don't get to the NBA Finals one time, you gotta get back.
There twice. You gotta get there twice.
All right, so Valentina Shevchenko back on the proving ground here tonight. You got to think some of these super fights are going to materialize at this stage of her career. Perhaps a trilogy with Amanda Nunes, potentially a title defense against Zhang Weili. But make no mistake about it, at 125 pounds, she has distanced herself from the pack.
Yes, there is a lot out there for Valentina. Super fights are on the horizon, but the only time that those present themselves is whenever you have really dominated the division that you fight in. Valentina has done that. She has beaten everyone, and she has dominated most of them. So let's see if tonight she can once again get her hand raised and look to some of those things that are out there for her to accomplish.
7 title defenses and counting for Shevchenko. She moved down to 125 pounds back in 2017, and needless to say, she has not looked back. All right, well, a lot of people felt like he was going to go be a professional kickboxer. There's more money in the UFC, though. That's why he's here. We'll see if he can kick somebody's head off here tonight.
I mean, and he's going to look for it. You know, we have seen great kickboxers come into the sport before. We have not seen many that come with the background, with the tradition and the history that this man has in kickboxing. He is so sure that if it's a stand-up fight in the UFC, he beats anyone. And I'm talking anyone, the best in the world. He thinks he beats them, but he's gonna have to show that he can stay upright, because this ain't kickboxing. This is mixed martial arts. You gotta make sure you defend those legs, or you end up spinning 15 minutes laying on your back.
That's right. We did have some fun in our fighter meeting. He said, would you guys prefer a knockout with a kick or a punch? We said, hey, man, I mean, we want to see you throw those feet. So we'll see if he can get the knockout here tonight in what is a very interesting stylistic matchup. All right, so here she is, the UFC strawweight queen, Zhang Weili, has that first defense out of the way now. It was an epic clash with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, a fight that eventually will find its way into the UFC Hall of Fame. And you got to think a lot of valuable championship experience gained that night for Zhang Weili. There are a lot of difficult matchups here in this top 5 at 115 pounds, wrestlers, former champions. But right now, Zhang Weili will be favored to beat all of them. She's got another stern test in front of her tonight. Magnum Zhang Weili. She has graced the octagon. It means we are set for our main event of the night. Our tale of the tape now for this strawweight championship fight.